walk the forgotten realms and unlock them as I drop these spells to freeze hell's wafting breezes. Smells strangely uplift you, delve into your brain tissues, change and shift you till you reach higher abodes and admire the souls of its residents, glowing effortless, bold denizens, showing messages of olden vestiges, golden premises. No nemesis contends with this. From Genesis to Exodus, I flow testaments with no precedent, knowledge colossal to abolish imposters, poly with rosters, doctors and prophets. I'm washing your optics, we're all divine. You can fall or shine for all time. Smaller minds won't condone this, they stone you in a lonely pit. But if you hone your gifts, you'll transcend the realities of
in Bereshit, in Genesis, there is a statement that says, mankind is made in the image and likeness of God. So, the Bible states from the very beginning that man is divine by essence, by his nature. So why is it that when we run into ordinary Bible believers, they say that you are not the divine, you are not this? And it is because when we, as ordinary readers of the scriptures, have not tasted the divine, we try to piece together scriptures from our own thoughts, from our own mind, from our own perceptions, and try to understand what this is saying. And so what we get from that, since we see life from a dualistic point, we see that we are separate from God. And so this is our belief. And so you'll hear many Christians say, you are not God. You are not the divine. But from the very beginning, the Bible states that man, by his essence, by his nature, is divine. He is made in the likeness and image of God. What does this mean? It means, if we look at it from a dualistic standpoint, that man is a microcosm within the macrocosm. That you are the very divine. What does microcosm within a macrocosm mean? Because many people say it. But what does it actually mean? It means this, if we're speaking from a dualistic standpoint, that the whole appears to be comprised of many parts. And these many parts are also wholes. Again, what is this saying? Outside of you, you see a whole universe as one universe. But all beings, including man in his essence, because man is the one that could realize this. Man is also, although appears as a part, he is also a whole. He is a universe within himself, an exact replica of the appearing outside universe. So when it says man is made in the image and likeness of God, what it is saying is, in essence, is you are the divine. You are God, but not in the sense of a supreme being sitting up somewhere in the sky, not in that sense, but in a more esoteric or mystical sense, a more mystical view, that you are the absolute essence or absolute reality. So when we speak of man being the microcosm within the macrocosm, all the energies that exist in the universe also exist in man. He is an exact replica of the universe. All the energies and forces in the universe are also within man. And when I say all the forces and energies, do not look at specifically the surface level. Look at the principle of these energies. They all exist in man. So man is a exact copy of the universe, as it states in many teachings, as above, so below, or as in heaven, so in earth, as the whole, so the part, as the wave, so the ocean. So when we hear man is made in the image and likeness of God, it states from the very beginning that you are the divine. You have the same likeness and the same image. So when we come into the world, we think we are a person, but what you really are is not a person. What you really are is unborn and can never die. And the problem with speaking this is that the mind cannot understand it because the mind cannot reach it. You have to go beyond the mind to comprehend what it is saying. So that is why images and imagery and similes and metaphors are given, so the mind can grab onto something to understand what is being transmitted. And so I will give you the analogy of the wave in the ocean to make you understand this creation in man and God and the unity between the two. Imagine a divine or an infinite ocean, which is called God by the myriad of waves that appear in it. Some high, some tall, some subtle, some low, some ferocious, some gentle. A myriad of waves in the ocean. And imagine you are one of the waves. Now the wave sees a myriad of waves upon the surface and says, well, I am different from all the other waves. I have certain characteristics that these other waves do not have. In the wave, all the actions of the wave thinks he is the doer of them. And so in order to know what the wave actually is, he has to go inside himself. Because the wave has also heard he is made in the image and likeness of God. So the properties of the ocean are exact replica of the properties of the wave. And so when the wave goes within himself, he finds his essence, or he goes to the I of what he is. And he figures out, I am not a wave, I am water. In the water, it is eternal. It was never born and never dies. The wave will come and go. My body, who I think I am, will come and fall. But what I am essentially is water. And the water has always been. It's eternal. So when the wave sees that he is water, and that he is not this name called wave, in this form that has a crest and a trough, he realizes his essence, which is water. Now, when he realizes this is what is called the door, right? This is the first manifestation of the absolute, which is this I am, which is in all conscious beings, all sentient beings. This knowledge of I am, which is in all mankind, should I say. Now, this is the door. Even Jesus of the New Testament said, I am the door. He's speaking of this Christ, this I amness that is within all. Imagine standing in the middle of a door with the door open, Imagine standing in the middle of that door. When the wave looks away from all the waves on the surface and turns inward to himself and realizes that he is not the wave, he is actually water. See, the wave had a birth and has a death, but the water, in this analogy, has been eternal. It has always been. Similar with your essence, it has always been. So when the wave comes to this door of the I am, and if he turned around and looked back, he sees all the names and forms of the temporal, the big waves, the giant waves, the small waves, the bubbles, all these things, they come and go. But when he comes to the I am, he sees the first expression of the divine ocean, which is that I am. But the I am is still localized within that wave. So it's still a duality. We must collapse the duality. As the Christ of the New Testament said, when your I be single, when it be unified, when it be one, your whole body will be full of light. And so what has to happen, the wave has to see that what he is, water, is not just in him, the wave. It is everything in existence. It is the all. Not only is it all the waves, the foam, the bubbles, it is also that which he called God. And so God and man merge in truth. And he sees that what I am, water, is all there is in existence. And so he loses his identity of an individual wave amongst many waves. His identity falls away. And he realizes that he and what he called God are one and the same essence, which is water. And he sees himself everywhere. And when one awakens to the truth of existence, to the realization of the divine, to the realization of God, you see your presence in everything. Not your body in everything, your presence, what you actually are, which is pure awareness, pure consciousness. Not the consciousness of the conscious mind, which only sees the world. Not the subconscious, which manifests in dreams and manifests in your conscious mind as your conditioning. Not the unconscious mind that manifests in deep sleep. Pure consciousness is that which holds all three of these states of consciousness. And so, as I said, when the wave stands in the middle of that doorway and looks outward, he sees the manifold world, the 10,000 things. But when you look to the other side of the door, you see the infinite. You see all there is what I am. And everything becomes you. And so you have now made the two one, which is a saying in the Bible, making the two one. Even Paul states in the book of Philippians about this as a mystery, making the church and the divine one. So that analogy of the wave and the ocean, or man and God, the microcosm and the macrocosm, in essence, they are one. And so when you stand in the middle of the door, when you look outward, if it was a wave, he would see the 10,000 things. But when he looks within, past the gates of the door, he sees it's not only in me, it is everywhere in existence. This, what is called water. You see the absolute. And so, when you speak to ordinary readers of the scriptures, readers of the Bible, because I used to be in the tradition of a sect of Judaism, which read scriptures according to mental knowledge. See, what I'm speaking of is beyond the mind. So the mental knowledge of what you believe, what you perceive, cannot reach it. So you must go to the essence. You must expand because the mind is limited. So it cannot perceive that which your essence perceives. You must step back to perceive the reality. And so when the wave realizes it is the ocean, it realizes that the ocean is one. Again, this is a biblical concept that says God is one. But when we read it from our mental knowledge, we believe it is one as in one amongst many objects. But the thing about your essence is it's not an object that can be realized by the mind. The mind only knows objects. It is your pure being. It's non-objective. It has no boundaries. Just as when the wave understands its water, it sees its infiniteness. It's not limited to the wave anymore. It sees that it is all in all. And so when you speak to a believer of the Bible and you say, I am God, this phrase, I am God, still implies duality. There's a two. There's an I and there's a God. And that's too much. See, we must drop the I, but this is the limitation of language. When you drop the I, all there is God or the divine. And some will say, well, if I lose myself, how am I going to do my job or go after this or that? But know that God takes care of everything. He has always been taking care of everything. It was just the story within your mind that told yourself that you are the one doing it. But it has always been him. Just as when the wave realizes that he is the ocean, the wave realizes he was never the one doing all the moving. Neither were the other waves. It was the ocean moving itself and taking care of everything in it. And so when you have the experience of the divine union, this will be clearly seen. All of your former beliefs, they have to be dropped, because when you realize the divine, they will fall away anyway. You don't even have to drop your beliefs. What you have to do is seek what you are in essence. What is man? Seek what man is in essence. And when that is found, it will burn up all your beliefs, all your preconceived notions, all your ideas about how life is, how life was. And you will see it for what it is, in truth. And so with that, I want to end by reading a quote from the Persian mystic, who was a Muslim, by the way. His name is Rumi. Some may be familiar with him. And he says this in his quote: "Don't think that saying, 'I am God,' is proclaiming one's greatness." See, let me stop there. See, in duality, when a man says he is God, since we adapt, our minds are tailored to duality, we think that that person is saying he is the God of the universe. He's not talking about his personality. He's not talking about his body. He's talking about the pure essence that each one of us is. So Rumi says, do not think that I am God is proclaiming one's greatness. It is actually total humility. Someone who says, I am the servant of God, infers to God and himself. Whereas someone who says, I am God, negates himself. Whereas, he relinquishes his own existence. And this is what the wave does. When he realizes he is water, he realizes that only water exists. I don't exist. There is no independent wave. The whole Everything is one water. There is no I independent from water. You cannot have a wave independent of water. It depends on the water. It is water through and through. He relinquishes his own existence. I am God means I don't exist. Everything is God. Or in the analogy I gave, everything is water. Only God exists. I am nothing, utter emptiness. This is complete humility and not arrogance. But people often misunderstand. And they misunderstand because they are looking through the lens. They are looking through the lens of a separate self, the ego. When someone says he is God's servant, he still sees himself as a doer, albeit in God's service. He is not yet drowned in the ocean of God. When he is, there will be no such thing as his actions, only movements of water. And this fits right into the analogy that I gave, that you are made in the likeness and image of God, and you are truly God in essence. And if you wish to realize, you must go down the path that is tailored to you, because even the Torah is tailored to it, although the Torah is the progressive path, meaning it will take a while. What I teach is the more direct, showing you the divine nature, which burns up all impurities. But going from not knowing your divine nature and practicing Torah, it is a longer process because it eliminates the impurities in order to reveal the divine in the end. So the Torah, in essence, is about eliminating the false identity of a I that exists separate from the divine. That's why it is said that I shall not covet, but let my neighbor have his wife. I shall not steal, but let my neighbor have his possessions. I shall not kill, but let my neighbor have his life. Because it is eliminating the I. And this practice will eventually get you to the realization that all is I. I am all. Me and the Father are one. Me and my neighbor are one. Me and the earth are one. I and the universe are one in the same essence. So with that, shalom.